Hi, this is the Science Chef. In this video, which is our last for the 2023 JAMB preparation series, we'll be sharing with you some tips that will help you succeed in your JAMB examination on the exam day. Yes, we call it tips for the exams day, right? So let's start. Now, it is assumed that you would have completed your syllabus on all the subjects you are writing in JAMB, right? So we are not here to give you tips for what you are meant to do before the exam. This is what you need on the exam day, things you are meant to do on the exam day. Good. So the first tip that we have here is punctuality. You have to ensure that you get to the examination venue on time on that day. Yes. You have to get to the examination venue on time on that day, right? Even the first batch, ensure you get there at least 30 minutes before the commencement of the examination, right? And you are in the second batch or other batches, maybe second and third batch or fourth batch, if any, ensure you get there at least 1 hour before the commencement of the examination. Why is this important? Because when you get to the exam venue on time, to give you the opportunity to relax, right? You relax, you'll be calm, you'll not get anxious. That anxiety will not be there. So you'll be able to recall most of the things you had read before or when you actually get into the exam hall. You will not be tense at all, right? So now for those writing the first batch, why I'm saying you should get there at least 30 minutes, because most times first batches always start by 6, some 7 a.m., right? So I can't tell you to, if you are starting by 6, I can't tell you to get there by 5. To not be advised to get there by 5 a.m. So at least if you are writing your exams by 6, you can get there by 5:30. If you are writing by 7, you can get there by 6, right? So to give you ample time to relax before the exam starts. Then the second tip that we have for you is prayer. You have to pray for God's favor. Exactly. When you get to the event, don't go with anything that is not required, right? Like electronic devices, belts, if you are a boy, right, or a male. Don't go with belts, watches, and all those stuff that will make them delay you, right? Just go there with your writing material. Do you even need the writing material? Because you are doing CBT, you may not even need the writing material. So just go there as stated in your exam printout slip, right? So just go with the materials that are needed. Make sure you go with your slip, but not those things that are not required. Good. Now, when you get into the hall, after you have been called into the hall, what will you do? When you get into the hall, calm down and pray, right? Say prayer answers all things. Yes, prayer answers all things. If you have done your own homework, if you have read, you have studied, how you have burnt the candles, then it's to be time to pray, right? I believe that whenever you are preparing for an examination or for anything, you work as if your life depends on it, right? Then, after doing your own part, you now pray as if your work cannot help you. Are we together? So at this point, I believe that you must have done your work. Now you are now looking up to God, the supreme being, right, to shine his favor on you. Because you need God's favor, right? You are writing CBT. Not everybody is answering the same question. So the type of questions you answer may also determine your performance, right? Some people are always favored with certain questions. If you are favored with 90% of the questions that you are good at or that you know, definitely you will do very well. So God's favor is important. And also, you also need God's favor to prevent some mishaps in the exam hall, like your system switching off, like your timer not working, or something negative happening, right? So that's where you need God's favor in this examination. That's tip 2. Then at tip 3 is time management. Time management, very key. Experience has shown that candidates don't know how to manage their time. So when you get into the hall, this is what I'll advise you to do. You are writing 4 papers, right? 4 subjects. And each subject has its own number of questions, right? English is 60 questions. The other 3 subjects are 40 questions each, which means that in all, you're answering 180 questions. You're answering 180 questions within 2 hours, right? In 2 hours. And how many minutes make up 2 hours? 120 minutes, which means that you're answering 180 questions in 120 minutes. Good. Now, if you do the mathematics, you'll see that you are answering one question in 0.6 minutes, which is about 36 seconds, right? One question, 36 seconds. But the truth is that you don't have those full 36 seconds for one question. Why? Because you have to read through the question. So I want to assume that you spend like 60 seconds reading the question before you attempt to answer it, right? So if you remove 6 from 36, it means that you actually have 30 seconds to answer a question. You have 30 seconds to answer a question. Now, this is on the average, which means that by the time you are answering a question, if you spend more than 30 seconds on that question, skip. Because we believe that there are questions that you spend less than 30 seconds answering, and also questions that you spend more than 30 seconds answering. So that 30 seconds is what? Is an average. So if you spend up to 30 seconds and you don't still have a clue on how to answer a question, please skip. Don't waste time on that question. Are we together? Fine. So that is on time management. Then the next tip is to be calm. Of course, you have prayed. You've evaluated your time, so you know how many minutes you are meant to spend on each question, right? Then be calm and collected. Don't get nervous over anything. That's why if you get to the exam hall early, right, and you've evaluated your time, you've prayed, there's nothing that should make you get nervous. Because once you become nervous, it's very likely that you forget what you had read, right? So just remain calm. Don't be necessarily anxious, right, about anything. In fact, at that moment, you shouldn't be thinking about any other thing. Don't try to recall what you have read at that moment, because if you try to do that and you find out that you have forgotten one or two things, you start becoming anxious. So just relax, right? So our next thing would be start with your best foot. Start with your best foot. By starting with your best foot, it gives you the advantage of finishing on time. When you start with your best foot, with your easiest subject, right, it gives that confidence. Your confidence grows as you answer the questions, right? And because you're starting with your best subject, there's a possibility of saving extra time for the subject that you struggle with. Are we together? That's why it's advisable to start with your best foot. It's not compulsory that you start with English and probably end with physics or end with maths. No, it depends on you. It depends on your strength. Start with your best and end with your worst or most difficult subject, right? Because by then you will have saved enough time. There will be enough for you to finish that subject that you are struggling with, right? Great. Our next tip is you follow your gut. You advise to follow your gut when you are at a crossroads. That's when you're not sure of the answer to a particular question. Just follow your gut. The first instinct that comes to you, go with it, right? Because studies have shown that the first answers that students pick in questions they are not sure of, at least 80% of those answers are always correct, right? But ironically, most students always end up changing those answers out of fear. They always end up changing those answers and picking the wrong options or the wrong answers. So follow your gut when you are at the crossroads. Then the last tip for this should be, don't click on the submit button until you are finished, right? Don't click on the submit button until you have finished all the papers. So if you finish English, don't click on submit. Move on to the next subject. Move on to chemistry, move on to math, move on to physics. If you finish maths, don't click on submit. You can only click on submit when you have finished the whole subject, the 4 subjects, and you are sure of what you have done. That's where you can click on submit. Because once you click on submit, that's the end of the exams for you. You cannot recall it. Are we together? So please don't click on submit until you are done with the 4 subjects. How then can you move to the next subject when you are done with one? You can use your arrow keys. You can use your arrow keys or the next button, right? Use your arrow keys or the next button, or I'm very sure there should be a menu where you can click on the next subject that you want to answer, right? So please remember, don't click on the submit button until you are done with the 4 subjects. So that's that on our tips for the exams day. These tips have been tested and trusted, right? So if you follow these tips judiciously, definitely your success will be guaranteed on the exam day, right? So if you're able to learn anything from this, you kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if this is your first time here, right? And don't forget to hit that notification bell. It's very, very key to enable you stay updated with our new uploads. Do you know why? Because very soon we'll be starting our 2023 WAEC preparation series, just the same way we have done our 2023 JAMB preparation series. So in order not to miss those videos when they will be published, please subscribe and turn on your notification bells. Remember, success has many fathers and failure is an instant orphan. So we wish you success in your examination and keep doing what you know how to do best till I see you when I see you.